welcome to a very special start of a new series. In fact, we're kicking off a new interview-based series. Once a week, we're going to be in conversation with Dr. Swamy. We're calling this show, as you can see, Swamy Says on NewsX. And anyone who knows Dr. Swamy knows he has a lot to say. So we are going to ask him to come and talk to us every week, pick up a new topic, every week a new issue. That is, of course, going to generate a lot of buzz. So welcome to this conversation, Dr. Swamy, and also to our new show. It feels good having you on the channel. And today's topic is we're going to be discussing, Dr. Swamy, China, because that is not just the topic of the week, but I'm also lucky to have you as an expert on the issue. And I know you have some thoughts that are a little different than what our resident experts have been saying. So to kick off, really, what do you think, should be India's position regarding China in the post-COVID scenario?
Well, see, if one were to look right from 1950, when both become republics, India became Republic of India and they became People's Republic of China. When you criticize the government for a policy, you are slandered, you are attacked, and so on. And then when that policy turns wrong, then you say, well, why didn't you think of this earlier? Give you the example of Jawaharlal Nehru, who not only handed over India's the Security Council seat, which was given after China became communist, the Americans threw out the Chiang Kai-shek government seat and gave it to India, offered it to India. And India said, no, this belongs to the People's Republic of China. And then after that, he went and just kept quiet when the Chinese entered Tibet. And we had very close relations with Tibet. And so Sardar Patel wrote him a letter for which Sardar Patel was very criticized. He was not well in those days. In fact, he died very soon after writing that letter. He said, we have so many border problems. The agreement when Tibet was independent, we could not clinch the McMahon line. And now the Chinese are taking over. They will use this to grab our territory. So if you are planning to give Tibet, it's very sad that you should do. But if you have decided, then at least make a precondition that you will not agree to the annexation of Tibet unless you agree to the border, which is the McDonald line. And of course, in Aksai Chin, there's a McDonald line, and you should accept that. Now, Patel was heavily criticized by Nehru's chelas and sycophants. And in retrospect, he was right. And similarly, when I criticized Vajpayee for signing an agreement in 2003 in Beijing, saying that Tibet, because the Chinese decided they will break Tibet into 4 parts, and 3 parts they will merge with the adjoining states of China, Sichuan and Gansu province, etc. And 1/4 of the original Tibet shall be called Tibet.
Okay.
And Mr. Vajpayee went, reiterated Jawaharlal Nehru's, and then signed this also. What was the need for him to do that? And when I criticize, people say you're always against Vajpayee. Now today, when I say...
Not without some reason, but...
Huh?
I said not without some reason.
No, but that is not the reason in the sense. I have today criticized my government. I am very good friends with Mr. Narendra Modi. We may have difference in approach, but we have known each other for a long time. But I think, you see, today, if I say that, you should settle, you should not have allowed this to become this situation. It has become because of this. And by the way, since 2016, I have been warning our government privately that the Chinese, whom I know very well, and I've been frequently traveling, addressing conferences there. And of course, I went back to my old favorite jaunt, namely Kailash Mansarovar in 2016, in the end of June. So I told them that, they are not in a happy position, and, just don't go by atmospherics. He was in the Jula with me in Gujarat, and then he came to in Dhoti in Mahabalipuram. Don't go by these atmospherics. Look at the concrete part. There is some problem. So now, when I say that we should negotiate, our people all scream. Not all of them. I got a huge following too, and they're all very supportive. But the people in the BJP in information technology and the IT cell, they put out all kinds of tweets. Now, there has to be
BJP IT
some
cell is
debate.
putting out tweets against what you are saying.
Yeah, but they will do it pseudonyms. I know they're doing it. So there's nothing in Delhi that I don't know that's going on. So anyway, so the question is, unless you have a debate,
yes,
everything, we can't say that Modi knows everything, you see, and it's not fair on him also. Must have a debate. You may say what kind of relations you want with China. Today, China has got Nepal on its side.
yes.
I mean, that's a very, very serious failure of our foreign policy. Nepal, I mean, a Hindu kingdom, and because now even in the present constitution, Hinduism is mentioned specifically in the constitution.
Yeah.
So why has Nepal become, and what are they asking? They're asking for Nagar and all these places, 1836 they are quoting, then they are telling us should be grateful to the Gurkhas and so on. I believe that this same thing was there with Sri Lanka, because of our policies, they went totally pro-Chinese. Then I entered the picture, and then I brought
yes,
here. Now,
yeah.
good friends. The Maldives also had become all Chinese, pro-Chinese. And then when the elections took place, I must say to the credit of the Chinese, when I spoke to them that they should ensure that it is not rigged, and they did play a role in seeing there's a free and fair election, and Naseed won. He is the popular leader. And so I am saying that, dealing with China...
Today, post-COVID, what are you going to your position?
No, I am only saying this. You first tell me, do you want to be with the Americans against China?
Good question.
Or do you want to be with the China against the Americans? Or you want to be neutral? Now, if you ask me, I'll say be neutral.
Yeah.
Be friends with China, America. I mean, we have a lot of exchanges. Be neutral with China. Open frankly, speak frankly. I have opened Kailash Mansarovar when Moraji Desai took a bet with me that they will never agree. And they agreed.
You understand the psyche of the Chinese.
They never stopped that route ever. The route opened by the Prime Minister, they have closed down, but not the route of which I got opened. Okay. Then I got Mrs. Gandhi, when I went in 81 to China to meet Deng Xiaoping, she asked me whether I could persuade them not to arm the Assam Students' Union representatives who are going to cross in and get arms. And the Chinese gave an assurance. As Deng Xiaoping himself said, I will hand them all over to your police if you have police on the border. And they have kept that promise. As a commerce minister, I signed the trade agreement after which all this trade with China has started. For 11 years, they were saying, no, we will not sign. We will not sign. And then, so I think my view of China is that if you are upfront with them, they are very good friends. They are very good friends with Pakistan, not because the Pakistanis, don't like India. It's not that, because they are actually quite unhappy with Pakistan because Pakistan-trained terrorists are going to Xinjiang. So I would say I can answer this question if you tell me what kind of relations you want with China. They are our neighbors, and 1,700 kilometers of border.
Yeah.
Right. We have historical relations from BC 700. We have been having Qin dynasty. We have been having relations with them.
Yeah.
They were the first ones to call us Hindu Rashtra. Even today, they say Hindu Go. Translated means Hindu Rashtra. All official communications, when they mention India, they don't say India. They say Hindu go, which
Oh.
means Hindu Rashtra. Please tell the communists, you see, that their masters are saying.
Hindu Rashtra, they are not well said.
Yeah, so this long history when there was not a single incident. Compare that with Europe. Every year there was fighting between the French and the British and the British and the Germans with the Yugoslavs. You know. So this question, I would say, be friendly with China, be upfront. If you make a deal, keep it. And don't be taken away. So first lesson to learn from Jawaharlal Nehru. Never develop your defense policy on the basis of your foreign policy. Foreign policy is on the basis of intentions. If that guy wants to be friendly, so you be friendly. You meet him in the UN, you meet, have exchange visits. But when it comes to defense, you must go by the capacity. If the Chinese are in the Indian Ocean, you also get into Indian Ocean. If they are helping our neighbors, then you also start finding ways to see that for instance, Vietnam is a neighbor of China, but they're not good friends with China. So if the Chinese go on developing Pakistan, you can develop Vietnam. So I would say that as far as defense is concerned, your capacity should be based on the Chinese capacity. And you should match that. That's the mistake of Jawaharlal Nehru. He didn't have any defense at all because he said, Hindi chini bye bye. Panchashi. So that is the key issue today. Our government has got no China policy today. It's all atmospheric.
And reactive.
And so on. The Chinese, they are very hard-nosed people. Okay, there is a difference between the Chinese and the Americans, which I'd like to, from my personal experience, tell you. Americans are pure give and take people, very cold-blooded, one-dimensional people. You give something, you take something. It's all materialistic. And they're very good friends in that. They keep contracts. If they promise you something, they'll deliver on it. Otherwise, they'll tell you, no, I have this problem, I have this problem. Or if they want to break a contract also, they'll say, okay, we'll compensate you like this, but we have to break this contract. Chinese are not contractual. They are sentimental.
That's interesting.
I'm telling you, that's my experience. And why is it there's been steady friends of mine, even at the worst time, they'll invite me, they'll talk to me. They'll be ready any day to talk frankly. I've talked to them frankly, told them that Macron line you must accept. They told me it's an imperialist line. How can a progressive person like you support an imperialist line? I said, you have signed an agreement with Burma accepting this Macron line. So how can you not accept for us?
Yeah.
Then they become silent. They don't say, no, I'm being rude or anything like that. So the Chinese are sentimental once they feel that you have been with them in difficult times. Then they are with you on all times. So I'm saying today they will say, if I have to know the Chinese mind, they will ask us, if you want to be friends with them, if the Americans attack us on Taiwan, what is going to be your stand? And I'm saying this because our relations were revived for the first time after 1962 when Morarji Desai in 1977 told me, you know Chinese, you speak Chinese, you know them well, why can't you make them talk with us on the border? So I told them, you take only one step. The Chinese are having a major problem with the Soviet Union. That time there was Soviet Union, not Russia. I mean, now it's broken up into 16 countries.
USSR.
Yeah, and there's a small island and a river called Ussuri River, which is the border of Siberia and China. And the Chinese claim that island. The Russians are about to attack China and, send the military. And they have made an application to our government for allowing their troops to come into India and then go to Tibet from here. And the reason they asked for is because Indira Gandhi signed the Indo-Soviet Treaty. So you are bound by the treaty to do it. If you tell the Chinese today, we will not abide by the treaty, it is not a treaty which we approve, it is Indira Gandhi's treaty, it's now dead, it's a dead letter, then and convey this to the Chinese, they will be completely transformed. And that was my contribution, which laid the foundations of my personal friendship with Chinese leaders. And Morarji did it. And he conveyed it. And he immediately, Deng Xiaoping made a statement, there's a new government in India, and we can do business with them. We are ready to discuss the border, everything, and all this started that. So the way to deal with Chinese is to create a confidence that you are sincere. Now, we may be sincere, but they may not perceive it to be sincere. And anyway, they think that Indians are, very convoluted. They can play any role, any googly at any time. And, that is the general impression. They say one thing and then do another. So my view is, all this is not going to be over. This is what you're seeing on the border.
Yeah, that is
irritated. All this talk that we'll talk nothing. They will not talk with you. They'll make a mockery of that talk. They are out to emphasize to all our neighbors that we can take on India anytime we want. And that's a very dangerous thing. If Nepal is gone, and I'm telling you, there's something going on in Bhutan also, which we need to know ask the Bhutanese very clearly. The Bangladeshis are already with them, especially on trade. And then you see the Chinese don't know anything about free press. We have a press that goes wild. And our press is almost like a wastepaper basket. You can put anything in it. So
I want to disagree on that one.
Give you an example. As soon as this Wuhan thing happened, now all American companies will leave China and come to India. Front line, even political leaders were saying that. We hope to now woo how can the Americans come to India?
Right.
When the way they have built themselves in China is what? The Chinese import semi-processed goods from East Asia, and the Americans with joint venture add value to it, final products is produced, and then it goes to America. Now in India, what final product, who's going to send you any semi-processed goods? Do you think the East Asians will send it to us? They think our infrastructure is lousy, our tax system is madness, there are so many laws. If you want to buy land, it will take you 8-9 years.
Yes.
Nobody is going to come. The Chinese have streamlined everything, and they came, they just add value. Take this Lenovo computer, all made in its fundamentals is made in Taiwan. It comes to China, they put a keyboard, they put the screen, and then put Lenovo made in China. The only company which said put Apple. They make Apple makes its phones in China, but they don't allow them to say made in China. They say made in USA. So that you're not in a position, you don't have the infrastructure they have. And they have built a huge infrastructure. You have to go and see it to believe it, the way they have built it. You see,
but isn't this the time to build the infrastructure? We are talking anyway of investing in infrastructure, Atmanirbhar Bharat.
It's all talk. And there's so much bureaucracy, you see. Today is the best time to build infrastructure. Just print notes and pay. And that becomes part of demand. And there is plenty of supply. So therefore, economy will improve. And so build roads, 8-lane road from Delhi to Chennai and from Calcutta to Bombay, like that. And simplify your tax system, scrap this GST. It's the most harebrained scheme I have ever come across in the entire world, you see. And when Modi was chief minister, he opposed it. I don't know who persuaded him to accept it. Then we formed a company, a private limited company with ICICI and HFDC to prepare a computer program so that the money collected by the government of India of income tax could be distributed to the states. And that computer program, Infosys, in the last minute said, we can't do it. Then we gave them some more money, still they couldn't do it. And still we don't have a computer program. That is why all this hassle is taking place. So I'm saying simplify your system, and especially the tax system, lower your interest rates. The interest rate the Americans pay for their loans is only 2%. You know that? We are paying not less than 12%. How can you, these poor small and medium industries, they were crushed by that crackpot who came from America called Raghuram Rajan, went on raising interest rates. They all went out of business. Or maybe he did it deliberately, I don't know.
What about the package announced by the government recently, which is looking at MSME sector finally?
You look at my articles in Sunday Guardian, you'll know what I think about it. Where is the focus? How much of this 20, 10% GDP or 20 trillion rupees, what percentage of that is for stimulus? Stimulus means you're giving money. Take it, go and buy, go and build. You know, that is stimulus. Only 1%. The remaining 99% is credit, easier credit, longer term payment credit. But who wants to produce today when you're not got buyers?
They say increased demand.
Yeah, that is the thing that should be done, and the finance ministry is clueless.
What is it with you and the finance ministry? I won't go into that right now. But they all
because I know the subject, they don't know the subject, so there's bound to be clash.
That's well said. They also announced 2 days ago a package specially for the MSME, which Nitin Gadkari and Prakash Javadekar came.
Gadkari had a very good scheme, but how much money he asked and how much they gave him? I think 1/3 of what he asked for has been given. Why do they take so much time? Gadkari gave it in March. By now we would have transformed it. But Gadkari, you know, is a highly disciplined man, so he doesn't speak out. If I was in his position, I would have had to blow up.
Now you know why they're keeping.
I agree. But Chandrasekhar didn't have any problem, and I solved the problem for him. Otherwise, we were going to declare default on our payments of foreign debts. And he gave me free hand. I spoke to the Americans, allowed their planes to land here for the Gulf War. They paid me all the deficit I was, and we got through. So Narasimha Rao had no problem. Rajiv Gandhi had no problem. Morarji Desai had no problem. Why should the people here today have problem?
Why? I think we've all figured out why.
Because you don't like frankness. I have to be frank. I learned my lessons in emergency. Never keep quiet when you think something is going on. Speak up.
And sure enough, this is what the show is also about, to have you speak up. So I'm glad we're doing that. In fact, everybody's saying this should be Prime Minister Modi's moment for structural reforms. You've been arguing this for a long time also. This is the time, and no time like now. This is really, if he's pushed in a corner, maybe we always reform in a crisis. Do you see any conversation
what
happening?
Structural reforms you want? Abolish income tax, lower interest rates, and build roads and roads and roads. And simplify the tax system. That's all you need to do. What structural? There's nothing structurally wrong within the Indian economy. Yes, we have a mismatch between supply and demand. Correct that.
Okay. Last, we're totally out of time, but last I just want to take you to the US. What is happening in the US right now? We've seen the riot-like situation. We've seen Donald Trump's reaction to it. What is your reaction to what is happening in the US?
Donald Trump has now ensured that he will win the election. Do you know all this violence? All the people who voted for him will now vote for him with double gusto after seeing all this violence and looting that has taken place.
But it's happening on his watch.
Played into his hand, huh?
But it's happening on his watch. Shouldn't he be blamed for it?
So what? That is only CNN. Don't go by CNN. People say that poor man is trying it. As long as he was there, the economy was booming. And then this virus came from China, and poor man, what could he do? In our case, you can't say that because our economy was already sinking from 2015. I was writing letters, tailspin, be careful, it's going to crash.
Right.
And by the time the corona came, we are already in a mess. Our growth rate was down to 3%. You see, so it was booming. And suddenly this whole thing has done. But of course, I must say, Modi has done quite well controlling this corona thing, because even today our death rates are the lowest in the world. And that has done, perhaps he's overdone that lockdown, but that doesn't matter. I mean, it's trial and error after all. But an economy, you must know economics to be good in economic planning. Or you should rely on somebody who knows economics.
I will let you have the last word because there's nothing I can say that's going to cap what you just said. So thank you so much, Dr. Swamy, for talking to us and making this a memorable first episode. We're going to have a lot more conversations like these, and I'm sure we're going to be touching upon the economy yet again, sooner rather than later. But see you next week at the same time.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.